Hi everyone, welcome to the CA classroom. Today let us discuss the topic AS18 related party transactions. Let me give you a small background for this. Now, the minute you look at a related party transaction, you start getting doubts and you feel there is something not genuine about it. Now, first you need to get out of the idea that related party transactions are wrong. Now, let us take a small example. Tata company. They have companies under them like Tata Cement, Tata Steel. Now, in the future, if Tata wants to construct a building, will they purchase cement and steel from an outside company or will they purchase from within their own subsidiary companies? If Tata employees, top managerial people, travel across the country and the world for business purposes, will they stay in Tata group of hotels or will they stay in different group of hotels? Some of them might stay in different group of hotels, but they will also prefer to stay in the Tata hotels. Now, within Tata company, there are so many businesses. So each business uses products or services of a different business. Similarly, every other business will be dependent on its related parties for products or services. For example, Hyundai is dependent on many of its related parties for buying spare parts, etc., and for assembling a car. No. What the standard is saying is no, it's not saying don't involve in related party transactions. It is impossible for a business like Tata to survive without having related party transactions. What the standard is saying is enter into any amount and any number of related party transactions. There is absolutely no issue in that. What the standard says is disclose the same to the shareholders. You have to disclose what are my related party transactions or what are my related party relationships with the country. You need to disclose what is the relationship between Tata Cement and Tata Steel in the financial statements. So on a broad overview basis, the standard first understand does not say don't enter into these transactions. You can enter into these transactions, but all you have to do is disclose them in the financial statements. So we will majorly see in the standard what are related party relationships, how are each other related, what relationships I have to disclose and what transactions I have to disclose. So this standard is more of a disclosure related standard. In the previous section, we have understood the background behind AS18. Now let us understand what are the reporting requirements before we get into few definitions. First it says all related party relationships to whichever other related party I have a relationship. Disclose all related party relationships where there is control. In the next section, we will see definition of what is control. But for now, understand if a company has a related party relationship with another entity, then it has to disclose. It doesn't matter if there is any transaction with this related party or not. Doesn't matter. If you have a related party relationship with another company or another entity to be precise, you have to disclose what is the name of that entity to which you are related. And you should also explain what is the nature of your relationship. Whether you have 60% share, 20% share, what is the nature of your relationship. So first thing, all related party relationships I have. It's like an individual will disclose who is my father, who is my mother, who is my brother and who are my kids. The same way company will just disclose all their related party relationships whether they have a transaction with them or not. This is the first level of disclosure. Second, related party transactions. The minute you enter into a transaction with a related party, you have to additionally disclose all this information. Again, disclose name of the related party and nature of the transaction. What kind of transaction I have entered into with my related party. I should also disclose what is the amount of transaction I have entered with them, and also if any amount is outstanding as on balance sheet date, any payable or receivable. Have you written off or written back any amount? It is highly possible that you might make a sale and write off that amount. If any write off is done during the year, please disclose that same. Any other material information with a related party transaction, you need to disclose that. So this is broad overview of what to disclose. Now let us proceed to definitions and understanding what is a related party relationship. In the previous section, we had discussed what are the disclosure requirements required in the standard. Now, let us see what is a related party relationship. The standard says a party or an entity is related to another person, where at any point of time, the words use this, any point of time during the year, there was either control or significant influence. So, two parties or two entities, two people are related where at any point of time one person has control or significant influence over the other. It is not required that it should be throughout the year. Even for one day, if one person has a control over the other person, then they become related party relationship. Now, for an entity, what all is covered in my related party relationship? First, for an entity, any associate or joint venture will automatically become their related party relationship. Next, if an entity has a holding company, basically there is a company which is my holding company. I am being controlled by someone, related party relationship. I am controlling somebody else. I have a subsidiary and I am controlling them, related party relationship. Or there is common control, concept of co-subsidiary, that also comes into my related party relationships. Next, any individual plus relative, individually or together, they have control or significant influence over my entity. Let's say Vijay Mallya has control or significant influence over Kingfisher company. Therefore, he is related party relationship with the company. Narayana Murthy, when he has shared, he has control or significant influence over the entity. In the next section, we will discuss what exactly is control or significant influence. Next, this individual is having control or significant influence in another entity, which is a third party entity. No relationship between these two entities. Still they are related because this individual has control or significant influence in both these entities. Last, any key managerial person plus his relative together or individually have control or significant influence in our entity, then they both are related party relationships. Also, this KMP, key managerial personnel, separately has control or significant influence in an entity which is a third party entity, then both these entities are related party relationships. So this is an overview to understand what is a related party relationship. Any of these relationships exist at any point of time during the year, either through control or significant influence, then it becomes a related party relationship. Now let us proceed to understand what is the definition of control and significant influence as per AS 18. In the previous section, we have understood what is a related party relationship for an entity. There we have come across two terms, control and significant influence. Let us quickly understand what is the definition of both. Control is defined as very similar to your Companies Act, just one extra point. One is having more than 50% of nominal share capital either directly or indirectly. Next, controlling the composition of the board of directors of another entity. These two are what you would have already read in your Companies Act for holding and subsidiary definition. Next is an important point where they say you are controlling the substantial interest of an entity. Substantial interest means 20% or more of the voting power of the company. So you have substantial interest along with the power to direct the affairs of an enterprise which arises either because of law or an agreement. All these companies like Hyundai has various associate companies where it will have only 20%, 25%, 21%, 23% of the share capital. But these companies, what they do, they manufacture the parts for Hyundai and send it to Hyundai, and Hyundai will assemble them. Now, here Hyundai has substantial interest and power to direct the affairs of the enterprise. Tomorrow, if one of these enterprises want to sell off its business, it cannot sell it without Hyundai's approval because Hyundai is dependent on this entity for purchase of some part of the car. So, they have the power to direct the affairs of the enterprise, which is given to them through an agreement. Both these companies will enter into an agreement. So, this is the definition of control. Next, significant influence, meaning participating in the financial or operating policies of an enterprise but not control over it. They can have influence. They can tell what they feel is right, but they cannot decide over it. They will only have a significant influence. When is it deemed that you have a significant influence? If you are more than or equal to 20% of the share capital of the other entity, then it is deemed that you have the significant influence. Let us say you have 30% power. However, you do not have significant influence, then you have to prove it otherwise that even though I have 30% share, I do not have significant influence. Other cases, a person can have only 5% share in the capital but still have a significant influence. Then in these cases, you have to prove that even though he has 5% voting power, still he has significant influence. So it works both ways. Mainly you have to participate in financial and operating policies of an enterprise but not have control over the same. So this is broadly the definition of control and significant influence. Now, to summarize AS 18, any entity which is related to another entity, disclose the details. Any related party transaction, disclose the details. Now let us look at certain cases where AS 18 is not applicable or where there are some exemptions. In the previous section, we had discussed the definition of control and significant influence. Now let us see for what all transactions AS 18 is exempted. First, in case of consolidation between a holding company and a subsidiary company, any intra-group transactions which get knocked off in consolidation, you need not disclose the same. Second, any transaction between two state-controlled enterprises, let's say BPCL and ONGC are entering into a transaction between themselves. Both of these are state-controlled enterprises, then any transaction between them need not be disclosed because of some confidentiality reasons. Next, law permits confidentiality. Example, in the Banking Regulation Act says customers' information is confidential and it should not be disclosed. Let's say the key managerial person of the company, KMP of the company, is also a customer with the same bank, having a bank account. Now, just because he is a KMP of the company and also the customer of the company, I cannot disclose what is the balance of the KMP in the financial statement. No, the KMP will also have transactions with the bank. I will call it related party transactions. Can I disclose how much KMP has withdrew that year and how much he has deposited? No. Therefore, law permits some confidentiality. Next, let us look at some transactions which might look like related party transactions, but in reality they are not related party transactions, hence standard is not applicable for this cases. Common director. Let's say X Limited and Y Limited have common director Mr. M. Company success, you can be director in multiple companies. Just because he is director in two companies, these two companies are not related and need not disclose this information. Second, sole supplier or sole customer. Let's say X Limited is manufacturing all goods and selling 100% to one company called Y Limited. Now, for X Limited, sole customer is Y Limited, selling all the goods to Y Limited. Now, does not mean X and Y Limited are related parties, not necessary to disclose this. Same way, if X Limited is purchasing 100% of its raw materials from a single supplier, does not mean they are related parties, even though they look related to each other. Hence, sole supplier, sole customer is not a related party relationship. Next, lenders, bankers. If you take a loan from bank, let's say you have taken 1000 crores loan from a bank, does not mean you guys are related. Utility providers, all this electricity supply, the board, state boards which give you electricity, they are also not related to the company, they are only providing service to you. Trade unions, employee trade unions have good relationship with the company and they decide hikes based on trade unions, suggestions, does not mean they are related. So these are few cases where they might look like a related party relationship, but in substance it is not a related party relationship. Now, let us look at another definition of relative. For an individual who is relative, his children, his parents, brother and sister. So, father and mother, brother, sister and children. These people are related people for a individual. Now, they can be called relatives only if they have the ability to influence the decision of the individual. Let us say the children have no ability to influence the decision of the individual, then they are not related to the individual. So this is broadly about AS 18. Thank you.